আমার নাম বিনয় পাল। I have a question for our distinguished guests. I want to know whether our media, the U.S. consulate, the humanitarian groups, both International Amnesty and Bangladesh Humanitarian Group, are doing their job. The reason I am asking, recently I read a report at Hollywood Bangla News that United States State Department reported that the practice of freedom of religion in Bangladesh and human rights has increased significantly during the last year, 2011 and 12. But from facts we know, and I don't believe you know more than me, the State Department, Mrs. Clinton, gets all the facts. So what the U.S. Consulate and Amnesty International and our media doing? The Ramu was covered very well. Both the media and our Prime Minister and Home Minister did excellent job. But before that, in a smaller scale than Ramu, this year in Nondigram, Satkira, Jinaidaho, Dinajpur, I can go on and on, in my own Lokhipur. Things happened and I did not see the major media or the previous Home Minister did anything, nothing.
Well, as I said before, that persecution on the religious and ethnic minorities in Bangladesh, it has a political character. The Islamist parties, mainly Jamaat-e-Islami, they are the main perpetrators on persecution on religious minorities. We have seen from 2001 to 2006 that in those days there were thousands of such incidents and government didn't acknowledge it. But media in Bangladesh, they were very much in favor of this human rights, and they wrote about it. And take my case, when I started writing, I was thrown into the jail, as well as my friend Professor Muntasir Mamun. But when this secular democratic Grand Alliance led by Sheikh Hasina assumed power, this repression on religious and ethnic minorities, well, considerably it is under control now. But again, there are some incidents here and there, as you mentioned, and those are all perpetrated by Jamaat-e-Islami. Jamaat-e-Islami is trying to create a kind of law and order situation in Pakistan, trying to tint the image of the secular democratic government, and they are trying to stop the war crimes trial process. As I said, that 10 top war criminals mostly belong to Jamaat-e-Islami. Now they are on the dock for their crimes they committed during the liberation war of Bangladesh. But whatever the incident starting from Ramu and there you mentioned, government always acknowledged it. In Ramu, we have seen the next day 2 senior ministers, they rushed to that place and they just inquired about this incident. They found that there were some lapses from the administration, but even Jamaat-e-Islami, they have their tentacle in administration also. The local officer in charge of the police station, immediately he was removed, and people accused him for being linked to Jamaat-e-Islami, and government asked to file cases, and there are more than 1,500 cases right now, and more than 200 people were being arrested for oppressing the Buddhists in Ramu, Ukhia and other places. And government also declared, compensation for the victims, monetary compensation, rehabilitation of the temples and other things. So difference between present, minority persecution happening in present during the time of Sheikh Hasina's government and during the time of Khaleda Zia's government is that in the past, those crimes directly sponsored by the government, by the state, and that's why the victims never got justice. And the perpetrators, they went unpunished. But present government, definitely wherever the incidents are happening, they are taking steps. But well, more steps to be taken. As I said, that our secular constitution is no more there. The way it has been changed, though secularism came back to as a basic principle of the state, still we have Islam as the state religion. Now the civil society of Bangladesh, we are fighting to remove this clause because it is very much contradictory to the basic principle of secularism, the Article 12. And I hope that we'll be able to remove this part of this, communalization or Islamization of our constitution. That is very important. And Human Rights Watch, I think they are, and Amnesty International also, they are also quite, concerned about the violation of human rights in Bangladesh, and the State Department, they are mentioning these cases. And just during this visit, I met the high officials of the State Department along with the, minority leaders of the Bangladeshi diaspora living in USA. And we have explained everything, how Jamaat-e-Islami arranged this, persecution on the Buddhists, and how they have managed this so-called concocted this, website image, Facebook image and other thing. So main perpetrators is Jamaat-e-Islami. That's why we are asking our government as well as the US government to consider Jamaat-e-Islami as a terrorist organization. Jamaat-e-Islami not only perpetrated genocide in 1971, they are the perpetrators of communal violence. They are very much linked with Islamic militants in Bangladesh and elsewhere. So Bangladesh government as well as the US government must understand that. That is what we told State Department, US government, that you have to change your policy regarding Jamaat-e-Islami. Jamaat-e-Islami is not a moderate party. It's a terrorist Islamic organization.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Misha Rahman, and I have a question to Shahriar Bhai. We know that during the 71, a lot of women been tortured and been raped. What is the justice for them? For what you are working for them?
Well, during the liberation war of Bangladesh, official statistics says that 200,000 women were violated, but the unofficial statistics is much more than that. One of the Red Cross, physician, Dr. Geoffrey Davies, while visiting Bangladesh just after the war, and he came out with these statistics that more than 400,000 women were being violated. And that was something so painful, so horrendous in the history of war crimes and crimes against humanity that we have seen in Bangladesh. Since this government has started this trial process, trial of the war criminals, and Bangladeshi law under which the trial has been conducted, they have specifically emphasized on rape on women. And they consider, this law considers the rape on women is amount to genocide. It is not a minor crime, It is as well as, it should be considered as genocide because it was a kind of ethnic cleansing. So the investigation team, they started recording the testimonies of the war victims, and I'm quite hopeful those who are on the dock as well as those who will be on the dock, the cases of these rapes, the rape victims, they will have justice tomorrow or day after.
Thank you.